Okay, good evening everyone. Welcome once again to Parkland Filipino R. This is Kuya Jobert. Magandang gabi and even magandang tanghali at magandang umaga to all our Filipino listeners back in the Philippines. And I'm really excited for our discussion for tonight, Priya. Joining with our discussion, we have here David Chan. David Chan is seeking for nomination for the Saskatchewan Party, and he's here to have a conversation, a real heart-to-heart talk, get to know him more, and he would like to hear our concerns, the Filipino and the Filipino families' concerns with our lives here in Canada. So this is going to be an interesting topic po. So stay with us po. Okay, let's go. And if you haven't done it yet and you're new to my channel and you're watching us through Facebook, drop us a like, drop us a follow, share this video so that more viewers can enjoy watching. And who knows, maybe they can benefit from the show too. And if you're watching us to YouTube, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to ring the bell so you'll get notified once we post fresh videos for you or once we go live. Okay, and going back with the discussion, like I said earlier, we joining with us here is David Chan. Good evening, David Chan.
Hi, good evening.
Ayan. Okay. Before we start with our discussion for tonight po, we'll just take a few minutes. If you wanna go into my Facebook and then just if you wanna share our discussion, I'm just gonna take this time also to share this to our Filipino communities. Is that okay with you?
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Just give me a minute here. Okay. Okay. Give me a minute here. So how is David Chan today?
I'm doing pretty good
Okay.
today.
So
Yeah.
and how is the weather? You enjoying the weather here in Saskatchewan?
Well, winter came back
Mm-hmm.
today. We
Okay,
we've had such a mild winter, haven't we?
right, that's true.
Uh,
And I was
yeah,
I
but
was hoping that it would just stay there, but I guess
I know.
but I guess
I
this is Saskatchewan, and you
did,
know how
yeah,
Saskatchewan weather is, eh?
but we do have some snow enthusiasts that
Mm,
want to get out there with some more snow and go
mhm.
snow wheeling, do things like that. So for them, they're probably enjoying this. But yeah,
And to
no
all
different.
our and to all my viewers here, just to let you know, I met David Chan a couple of times, but I did had a chance to really talk to him last Sunday when he came and visit the Jesus is Lord Church here in Yorkton. So I had a chance to chat with him, and he was able to join us with the interview for tonight and to share more about his nomination. No, so before that, no, would you like to share something about yourself,
Sure.
Mr. Chan? But before anything else, are you related to Jackie Chan? No, no. I just need to
Probably,
throw
I don't
that on.
know,
Maybe
somewhere like,
somewhere.
yeah, maybe, yeah, it's
I don't know,
possible.
maybe you know a little bit of kung fu, but
Yeah.
as Filipinos, we like watching those martial arts kung fu stuff, especially
Oh
me when I
yeah.
was a little kid. But anyway, you want to share something about yourself first?
Yeah, sure. So I'm David Chan. I'm seeking the nomination for the Saskatchewan Party, for the Yorkton constituency.
Mm.
I'm I I moved to Saskatchewan 7 years ago and to Yorkton 6 years ago. So I've been in the community for 6 years, with my wife, and we have two little girls, 6 and 3 years old, and we live on a little acreage just outside of town, just 3 miles, really really close. But Yorkton's the community that we live in, and you know that we live in, and
Okay.
yeah. But I'm a I'm a mental health counselor the Ochapowace First Nation,
Hmm.
and you know I've done a lot of work with the different reserves, the different First Nations communities in the area.
Okay. And before we move on with our topics for tonight, po, I just want to mention some of our viewers, of course. I
Mhm.
would like to shout out Stanley and also, oh, Fernando. Ka Fernando, one of my Filipino friends from Esther Hazy, is watching
Oh,
now. So thank you very
right.
much, Ka Fernando. Kuya Fernando for watching. Stanley, he dropped us a message saying, hi, Brother Joe Bert and Brother David. God bless you both in the name of Jesus. And God bless you too, Stanley. Thank you very much. I hope you stay a little bit longer and get to know more our guests for tonight. And also to all our viewers, listeners, if you want to join in with the discussion, po, if you want to ask something to our guest for tonight here, David Chan, you are more than welcome to call the numbers 306-730-8302. That is 306-730-8302. If you want to join in with the discussion, you want to say hi, hello to my guest here. If you have any concerns or questions, you are
Mhm.
more welcome. Just don't ask her. Just don't ask him money or utang. No, that's out of the topic. But anyway, okay, David. So I just want to ask some few questions here because when we had a chat last Sunday,
Mhm.
you are willing to listen to some of the concerns that
Mhm.
we have, Filipinos, and of course. One of the major things there, before we go to the other topics, I would like to mention about support
Mhm.
for the newcomers here. Although there's already an existing agency or
Mhm.
government agency that's addressing those concerns, do you want to say something about those? Because I know for a fact
Mhm.
this is a valid concern about
Mhm.
Filipinos moving in, coming in
Yeah.
from different country or just
Yeah.
coming in from the Philippines, how they can adjust to the new community
Right.
and culture. Would you like to say something about that?
Yeah, sure. And and feel free to interrupt me with and ask any questions.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I think it's it's challenging to move from a different country and to try to make a new life. And I have a lot of respect, a lot of admiration um, for newcomers who are able to do that. For most, if not all, it's a sacrifice. It comes at a cost. Especially being away from most people who come here, they have to leave family behind in some
Mhm.
way or another. Quite often, it's a spouse, a husband, or a wife, their children leaving at home and working here for however long it takes until they can bring their families over. And so I can't imagine. I can't imagine having to make that kind of a sacrifice. I was born in Canada, so I feel very privileged. I feel very blessed to be born here.
Mhm.
But my parents and my grandparents moved here from China.
Okay.
In very very similar way. They came here wanting to have a better life for their
Mhm.
family, for their children, and my mom's father, my grandfather, he left his wife and children behind for 5 years.
Oh, really? Mhm.
He worked hard for very little money, but he saved. I mean, you, you probably know how it is, right? He
Exactly. I
saved
know the feeling.
every
Yeah.
penny. He saved every penny. He didn't spend anything on himself, and and eventually he was able to bring his wife and his children here.
Okay, that's good then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So with that
So,
then, so do you have experiences? Have you talked to some of those were you able to reach out some of those not only Filipinos but other people in the community having those similar concerns too, and what did they
yeah,
say about that? Yeah.
uh, I have, and so I have heard from some Filipinos. I've
Oh,
heard
okay, good.
from the Filipino community, and I've heard
Good.
from some others. That definitely there's challenges to moving here, whether it's like finding the right job, and being able to have that that income, to achieve your goals, and just having that support. I hear that our newcomer center is doing an
Oh,
amazing
that's
job,
good. That's good.
really amazing job supporting. But that's something, um like, I don't know if you want me to talk about this right now, but I used to work with the temporary foreign worker, the AINP program in Alberta.
Oh, that's in Alberta. Yeah. Can you share something
Mhm.
about that? Maybe our listeners would like to hear something about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I used to. So I used to work in the AINP program, like with a lot of TFWs. Most of them came from Mexico, the
Mm,
Philippines,
mm,
Ukraine.
mm.
Quite a number actually from El Salvador, but yeah, I used to work with them to help them learn English and to help them adjust. Because there's always that culture shock, and sometimes that's the hardest part,
Right. Right.
right? Is that adjustment process,
Okay.
and just struggling with, like, being here, feeling missing your family, the discouragement of that extra challenge
Right.
of
Right.
not speaking the language fluently and stuff like that. So
Oh, that's good to hear that you work on that kind of. So at least you can understand
and
what we're
yeah,
going through today. Yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah.
also,
And
mm.
I also worked overseas,
Oh
and
really?
so it's a little bit different. It's not quite the same, right? Because it didn't involve.
Which country? Which country in overseas did
Uh,
you?
so I
Middle
was I
East?
was 2 years in Chile, South
Okay,
America,
okay.
and 1 year in Abu Dhabi
Oh, okay.
working, and then I also spent 6 months in China.
So
Yeah,
okay. What kind of job were you doing there? What
in
kind of work? What kind of work were you
right.
involved there? Yeah.
So I was working for in Chile and Abu Dhabi. I was working for a university, a Canadian university. I
Okay.
was working for the international department. I had um I had a number of different roles. I was an ESL instructor in a program, and I was also the marketing service rep that was kind of managing the program and representing the university, and um, how do I say, being the liaison with our
Jason. Yeah.
clients,
Okay.
essentially. Yeah, we had a joint venture project with the Ministry of Education in Chile,
Mm,
and and it was a similar
mm.
setup in Abu Dhabi as well. So I worked a lot with that, in that industry, I guess you would
I
say.
see. I see. Well, since you mentioned that you work with the AINP,
Mhm.
right, in Alberta. Few years ago, when I was visiting some friends in Alberta, and around that time there was concern about temporary foreign workers having to exit the country, and that was a major concern for most of the Filipino community because
Mhm.
those working under temporary contract here, most of the stories that I heard from them is that when they left the Philippines, when we left our homeland, there's nothing else that we can come back there to. We left everything. We sold out. We sell all our properties just to
Mm,
be able to come here to Canada and work
mhm,
here to Canada, and for them to exit the country and go back to the Philippines. There's nothing more. There's nothing waiting for them
mhm.
in the Philippines. Have you heard those kind of stories? Have you heard those kind of concerns? And what's your thoughts on those concerns?
Um, so I, excuse me, I haven't heard, I didn't
Oh,
hear about that. Do you have more, like, what was the cause for them having to go back?
well, I don't know if you heard about the story a few years ago. Like, was it like 5 years ago or more than 5 years ago, when there was a company. I don't know. It's particular in Alberta where they kind of abused the system.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of
Oh,
abused the
they
system.
abuse the system.
Exactly,
The
abuse the
system or the
system.
workers? Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So they keep
yeah.
on they keep on taking foreign workers instead of balancing the
Mhm. I
local
see.
employment, but instead
Mm-hmm.
they use most of their manpower from getting from foreign employees.
Right.
So they kind of abuse that. So that's why the government put a halt on that.
I
And
see.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can imagine that must have been devastating for
Mm,
the workers who are already here. I mean,
exactly.
I don't know, like, if I can. I don't know what happened with that specific situation, but unfortunately, when you have these emotional,
Mm,
like, there's so many emotions that that happen
that's
around
true.
some of the issues, right? And so you can have some very knee jerk reactions, knee jerk policies, I suppose. But unfortunately, um, unfortunately, we sometimes forget the human factor of what it does. What does it actually mean to the people whose lives are being affected?
Right.
Right.
And that's what, and that what's our concern, to make your concern of the Filipinos come here to Canada. What is our protection? What is our security? Because we left everything. We left everything just to be able to come here to Canada. What is our assurance of our security of coming here to Canada? That is one of the major concerns of the most of the Filipinos that are coming here on a temporary visa.
And you need to get, and everyone's trying to get that pathway to permanent residency, that pathway to citizenship.
Exactly,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
And I heard stories. Yeah.
Actually, you know what, Jobette, back in 2013 and 2014, I was doing my master's degree, and it was during that time I was doing my master's and I was working with the TFWs. And so I remember now that there was a lot of anger towards the TFW program. Because I think, if I can recall, I think the issue they were upset about was that, the program was being abused and that TFWs were taking jobs. I think is something along that lines. They were, but I'm unfortunately, it's been such a long time that I can't remember. But I remember doing a project, with my master's, an advocacy project where I called it the Voices of TFWs, because I wanted to remind, I wanted to raise the voices and remember that there's real lives and real stories.
Right.
Because I saw them every day, right? I worked with the workers every day, and I knew, because of that, I knew so many of their stories, so many of the sacrifices. And sometimes when you have like those emotions, and if someone starts, like if someone, like a Canadian born person, starts to think that TFWs are a threat or they're taking jobs, then it can, there's a lot of emotions that can be strong. And so I run that program to highlight the stories, to display publicly these stories of people who are here, and what they were hoping, what they were sacrificing to be here, just to kind of humanize the discussion. So I don't know if I'm speaking exactly to your concern.
No,
but
I understand what you're saying here. Yeah.
The human story matters. And so, I think it, as much as possible, we want to support our newcomers to be able to make the life that they want. The reality is that the program is an economically driven program. It's a supply and demand.
Right.
It's meant to fill the demand, right, for labor.
True.
And we need that. And so, either you're coming, like Canada basically opens up immigration for people who can invest money into the economy, or that can be, provide labor, skilled labor, or fill the labor gaps. And that is the reality of the program. But, that being said, I definitely, I can imagine that, leaving everything behind, because there's a cost to applying from the other end, isn't there?
Definitely. Yeah. There's a sacrifice involved there too, right? So, to all our viewers and listeners, just want to let you know, I'm here with David Chan. He's seeking nomination for the Saskatchewan Party in Yorkton constituency. So he's here to have a chat, have a talk, and to listen to our concerns. No, and you mentioned about the supply and demands, David Chan. One thing I would like to mention also is one thing I noticed, which is also a valid concern, particularly here in Yorkton. I'm sure it's a valid concern also around the Parkland area. It's about the shortage of the workers, healthcare service on the healthcare services. I don't know if you noticed that, but it's becoming a concern, and I've heard it with most of the Filipinos here. Oh, my doctor is moving a different province now. I need to find a new doctor. Oh, there's lack of nurses now in the hospital. There's lack of support. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it. Healthcare is a major concern for all residents here in Yorkton. I know we've got to attract and retain more health professionals, doctors for sure. I know there's a lot of people who don't have a doctor right now, and I think they probably just end up having to use the walk-in clinics, and
Yeah,
so that is a serious concern. And if you need a doctor and you don't, that you're not able to find one, that's a challenging
that's true.
situation. And I mean that there's also people that are having to wait for services and other health professionals. It's a concern for a lot of people in Yorkton. It's definitely a top priority.
Right,
You know?
right.
And and I know I would like to, I don't know all the information about that. So these are areas where it's going to take collaboration. It's going to take hearing from people who know the issue
Mm,
thoroughly,
mhm,
who are
mhm.
close to it, and who understand what the needs are, and understand
Right.
maybe what some of the possible solutions could be. Collaborating with them, and collaborating with the federal government, collaborating with different levels of government to and different stakeholders to to make sure we have quality healthcare. And I know that like it's a very complex situation. So I know that a lot of effort has been made, and a lot of things have been done
Right.
to like the groundwork has been laid for us to get a new hospital.
That's good.
Our current MLA Greg Albright, he's done so much work to make that happen. And so I'm looking forward to taking the baton and continuing to advocate for that, to advocate for health services. And on that note, what now I know this is federal, not
Mhm.
provincial, but um, I think Canada is looking at making the process, like if you're a skilled professional like a nurse,
Mhm.
Canada's looking at making the process easier for you to bridge your qualifications in order to be able to work in the industry. So I think that's something that's very relevant, especially to the Filipino community,
Right.
right? We have so many professionals, like,
That's true. Oh yeah. Because I've heard
everyone that's
stories.
here, like,
Because well, you know what? Actually, I've heard stories of some Filipinos who are actually in the Philippines. They are doctors,
mhm,
Filipinos, but when they came here, they just settled for just being nurses here, because it's hard to um so
yeah,
they are professionals, but when they come here, they are
yeah.
willing to kind of downgrade so that they could help out with the services too,
I,
with the need to fill
actually,
in the needs.
yeah, I remember working with a number of the foreign workers at
Mm,
a Tim Hortons,
mm.
in this whole AINP and ESL, and every one of them had one at least one degree,
Oh
like
really?
engineering,
Yeah,
business,
yeah.
um, you know, like they had at least one marketing,
Uh-huh.
and some of them had 2 degrees. But they were serving
Really?
coffee, and yeah, and they were so, like, they're such hard workers and so
Mm.
humble, but they would just serve with a smile, and I like
Wow, that is
like
awesome.
it blew me away, because it's like, man, you have education, you got a
That's
bachelor's
right.
degree,
That's
but
right.
you come to Canada and you're working at Tim Hortons serving coffee. Like, you
Uh-huh.
never know who who it is that's here, right? And
Mhm,
what their
mhm.
background is. And some of them own businesses, and some of them, like, it was just amazing. But anyway, that's a little bit off topic, but
Okay.
you know
Okay. And for to all our viewers here, like I said, po, joining with our discussion, we got to hear David Chen, who's seeking nomination for the Saskatchewan Party and the Yorkton constituency. If you have any questions, concerns, he would like to hear from you guys. The number is 306-730-8302. That is 306-730-8302. Say hi, hello to my guest. And if you have any questions, he's here to listen to us, join in with the discussion. Po. One thing I would like to put an emphasis on is how Filipino values is very important for us Filipinos here. Okay, and one of the concerns as a parent, I'm a father too. I'm a father of 4 kids, no, three daughters and one boy and one son. No, my concern is how the my kids going to school, how the school is helping our concerns, um with the with the issues now of identities, among our kids. No, you know, before anything else, before I go on with this question, I think this is a very kind of delicate. I would like to establish context to my viewers here. What I'm trying to say. If it's okay with you, I would like to speak in Tagalog muna to my Filipino friends, and then I will go back to you. No? Mga kababayan, no, ito kasi ang pinaka, ito, this one of my concern din po, no, as a parents po, as parent po, tulad nyo rin po, na nais natin pangalagaan ang interest ng ating mga anak din sa ating schools, no, sa eskwelahan. There are merong ng mga pagkilos ngayon, no, mga radical activist move to na i-enforce, no, ma-impose sa ating mga kabataan about this identities, no, kasi ang problema nito, kasi ang maging sitwasyon nito, yung mga may mga ah, kapag ito ay ginawa ng batas, o ito ay naging approved na sa mga schools, eh makikita natin yung ah, mga lalaki na gusto nilang maging babae, pwede na ba silang pumunta sa washroom na babae? O kaya ang lalaki na gustong maging babae, pwede lang sumali sa competition ng mga babae. Doon sa yun yung mga concern na sa ngayon siguro hindi niyo napapansin, o hindi niyo pa siguro, hindi pa tayo fully aware, but kapag ito'y naging batas na, ito'y something na talagang apektado tayo at apektado ang ating mga kabataan, no? And I would like to know from David Chan, how would you help us with this cause then, um, to make sure that our voices, our concerns as parents are heard, no? Kasi we're not just talking about the concerns of of the schools, to make sure, because this is not just about bullying, this is not about discrimination, but um it's about not only their concerns, but the concerns also of the parents, no? I'm sure you kind of understand what I'm getting to.
Mhm. Yeah. So you know what I mean. Um, parents care about their kids' education.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've actually, I've heard from a lot of parents and a lot of people in the community that, you know, they you know, they care about education, and they share these concerns. And I think that, I'm a father as well, and I'm, I think they're valid concerns. Yeah,
Mhm.
I think those are valid concerns, and I, I'm pro family, and
Mhm.
I I support, I think the Saskatchewan Party's made some really good decisions to stand up for parents,
Mhm.
stand up for parental rights,
Mhm.
and those are the kind of measures that I would support. And when you stand up for parents' rights, you're standing up for all parents. Of any political persuasion. All parents benefit from that, because really what you're saying is that parents have the first priority. They have that they
Right.
parents have that right, to have that voice with their children, and to raise them. And and I don't think that anyone should come in between that, and now we have that codified into law. And I think that's really great, and I support that, and I
Mhm.
support continuing, to stand for those values,
Right.
and that to protect the rights of parents, and keep our children connected,
Right.
in that way. So yeah.
Yeah. No, kasi because one of my concern nga is because there's always been discussion and topics about this,
Mhm.
having um I don't know what's going to be like rights or something, but I know I'm pretty much sure you have an idea what I'm getting
Mhm.
at, right?
Mhm.
So that is one of the, as a Filipino parent, is
That's one of
concern.
your concerns as a.
Exactly, that's what I'm
Right.
saying, that
Yeah.
that they should not abuse uh this concern, or
Right. Yeah. Right. And you know what? I think you're not alone. I think there's a lot
mm,
of parents, And I've met other newcomers. I've met other people from the Filipino community and other communities, and and just you know, other, like I said, other people in the community that have that same concern. So I do believe it's a valid concern, without a doubt. And I, one of my passions in this is to be a voice for parents, to make sure that parents have that representation.
Okay,
You
that's
know,
good then.
because there's, yeah. Anyway, I'll leave it at that.
Right, right. Um, and you know what you said earlier, you were able to connect with other Filipinos also in the
Hmm.
community, right?
Hmm.
Were there any other concerns that they mentioned that I
Oh,
haven't mentioned yet that we should
right.
be discussed too?
Well, they like you, and you already mentioned the concerns with support for newcomers
Right,
and coming in.
exactly.
Yeah. The other concern that they mentioned, this was a really big one, was education, like the
Oh,
quality of education.
mm,
Like there, some people were saying how uh, the schooling in the Philippines is actually, the levels were more difficult, and their
that is
kids
true.
were doing better, like they were
That
doing
is true.
better. And I'm not here to come down on any of our teachers or anything like that, but for them as a parent, this is what I've heard, that for them as a parent, that they were concerned that their children weren't getting the kind of education that they anticipated. They expected the Canadian education system to be superior,
Mm,
uh, but they're finding that you know they're feeling that that's not the case, right?
okay.
um, and so I don't want to say like that. I don't want to, in a sense, take sides like that. I know exactly what needs to be done, or whatever, but I know that that's a concern.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And actually, that's a concern across different communities. I'll put it that way.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
not
Not
not just
only,
with,
yeah,
but
not
it
only with the
definitely came up.
Filipino. Mm-hmm,
Definitely came up with the Filipinos as a high priority. You know,
mm-hmm.
quality education for the kids, because education is really what opens the door for opportunities, right?
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Yeah. Sorry.
Do you think this is kind of connected also with the, because I know for a fact, was it like a month ago or 2 months ago when when the teachers had their was it like a rally?
Hmm.
What was their concerns about too? Are you familiar with their concerns too?
The teachers'
Yeah,
concerns.
yeah. Around that time,
Um, well, you know what?
I think
I
it's about the
actually don't.
budget, right? I think they're asking for
Yeah, like there's always
there
those
was.
negotiations
I
between the
see.
party
Okay.
and like between the government, the SAS party, and the teachers unions. Um, I think it's probably not wise for me to like try to touch
Yeah.
on specific issues, because
Right.
those, it's right now, it's just not appropriate for me to comment on that. And
Mm,
and the truth is, I probably don't know enough of the details to, like, I need more information
mm, mm.
to speak to it.
Right.
But what I will say is that you know you have to balance. Well, what I will say is that I do work in a school. Like,
Mm,
I work as a mental health therapist in
right.
schools.
Mm-hmm,
And so I don't work in the public school system. I work in schools on reserves,
mm-hmm,
and so they're under a different. They're not governed by the public schools,
mm.
um, but I'm in that environment. So
Are they like a
some ways,
more one on one? Like when you say are they, do you
I
handle them
do.
like more on one
Yeah,
or
I do one-on-one. That's right.
oh I
That's right. Like, so I'm
see.
not a teacher in the schools, but I have taught. So in that sense, I guess I'm somewhat close to some of the issues,
Mm,
um, or some of the realities. But outside of that, there's a lot of there's a lot of um, there's complexity to resolving some of these things. Yeah.
right, right.
So I can't really say you know
Well,
what
one
specific
thing.
policies or
So just to let the our viewers and listeners know too. Are you still going to be going to? You have Are you open for discussion again? Like just in case there's going to be concern. Tomorrow is Tuesday, correct?
Yeah.
So are you gonna be available at the soup and shots again
Oh
tomorrow?
yes, I
Yeah, would
will.
you like to invite our viewers too if they wanna
Yeah,
stop by
yeah, sure.
there and have
Yeah,
a meet and greet
yeah,
with you?
yeah, yeah. I'll be at Soup and Such from 6 to 8 p.m. Yeah, and anyone who wants to come and talk and meet, I'd love to. Yeah,
Yan.
yeah.
Yan.
And
To
that's
all our
tomorrow.
kababayans, no, if you're listening now and you wanna chat more and you want to know more about David Chan, you can drop by at the Soup and Shots tomorrow. That is Tuesday. And I think that's the last Tuesday, right? Are you gonna be still on the next
I
Tuesday or no?
I think I'm going to be there the next Tuesday, but
Okay, that's good.
I'm not 100% sure.
Okay, okay.
Yeah,
So
but
if you
I
if you guys if you guys are listening now, you guys watching now, and you wanna meet David Chan in person,
Mhm.
stop by at the Soup and Sats tomorrow. Tuesday around 6 o'clock is gonna be there, 6 to 8. So catch him in person, David Chan. Right. So with that, David Chan, before we conclude then our discussion for tonight, um, can you educate more our viewers then how they can help you support your vie for the
Sure. Yeah,
Saskatchewan Party
for
nomination?
sure.
Hmm.
And could I say something briefly?
Yes, please.
It, I was, and this is a personal story. Like this is personal for me. So I grew up in a town that was predominantly like white Caucasian
Mm,
town, right? My family was the only, we were the only Chinese, and there were very, very few immigrants
mm,
when I was growing up. And I always felt like an outsider,
mm,
and also like the culture is so different. There's like for me as a Chinese growing up in this Chinese family, we're taught to be very friendly, very polite, very accommodating. We're
mhm.
we're we're always taught to uh, how do I say, like, you know what I mean? Be accommodating, like
Right, right,
not to be confrontational, not to be
right,
assertive.
right.
Like I would never say I don't know. You know what I mean? Like I would
Well,
never.
you know what? Us Filipinos can relate with that too, because us Filipinos, it's been part of our culture to be very friendly and
Mhm.
accommodating
Yeah,
to other people in the community. We never say no to
yeah,
a person,
exactly.
to a
Yeah,
friend. Exactly, right? Yeah,
we
I'm sure you
never.
understand what point there. And with that, like I said, we're just kind of we're really friendly, and we like to smile a lot to people
Yeah,
in the community. Yeah. And with that, then sometimes it's really kind of hard, especially with the language barrier, right?
yeah, yes, exactly.
And especially when you feel like you're the only Filipino in the workplace, in the community, it's really hard, no?
Yes, yes. Well, and it actually affected me a lot. Even though I was born here, like culturally, I was taught to have that kind of those values, right? And so it's very different from how I think the broader Canadian society, mainstream Canadian society is taught and raised, where they're more taught to speak their mind.
Right.
Okay, I'm just gonna say, for my friends growing up, all my friends were expected, but their parents were expected them. If you want something, you speak up, and
Uh-huh.
and if you want to get noticed by the teacher, you have to say something. You don't just be silent, right? Like you say it, like speak up, right? But that was opposite of how I was raised. And so for a long time, this really affected me because I always felt it actually made me feel inferior because I wasn't as assertive. I didn't know how to have a voice. I didn't know how to speak up. And for a long time, I didn't feel like I did have a voice. And so even for me to step into this race, it's a big step for me personally because it
Mm,
it you have to overcome a lot of your fears. It's not
that's
easy.
true.
It's scary to actually stand up and say, look, I want to be a voice. I want to speak. I want to represent concerns,
Right.
represent people, because there's always going to be opposition to that too. So it's not easy, but I guess what I want to say is, I know I was born here, and but coming from that immigrant family, I didn't feel like I had a voice, and I felt like Canada didn't really belong to me. I guess you know, and that just came from that experience. But if there's some Filipinos that might feel that same way that I did, I really want to encourage you. You have a voice, and you have a right to vote.
Mhm.
Um, this is not the general election. This is the nomination. So this is selecting who's going to be the candidate to represent the Sask Party, the Saskatchewan Party. So I want to represent the Saskatchewan Party in the general election. And so what that means for your listeners is that they can, if they want to participate, they have to buy a membership to the Sask Party. So permanent residents are able to buy a membership. So a permanent resident can't vote in the general election, but you can participate in the nomination. And that's $10 for an adult, and $5 for a youth. Youth is age 14 to 25. So even if you have teenagers at home that are 14 years old or older, 14 years old to 25 years old, it's $5 for their membership, $10 for the adult memberships. But yeah, I really want to encourage you that you have a voice, and whether you're voting for me or for someone else, I encourage you to participate in the process. It's such a privilege to be able to have that system in place here in Canada. And I just encourage you, to know that you have a voice to keep it. Yeah,
that is great, and it's very important, so that as part of our, it's not only just about have your voice to be heard, but also to be part of the community, right? It's our responsibility to voice our concerns, and you can do that through this voting, through election, right?
And you know what I do want to say though, like, your voice matters, and even as a community, your voice matters. And it's sometimes easy, like I said, like for me as a Chinese growing up, I felt like my voice didn't matter. But I want to say your voice matters. If you want to participate, you have to buy membership before February 29. Okay, so you have to buy a membership online, before February 29, and you can do that at my website. It's davidjchan.ca, and I think Brother Jobet, I'm
going to post the
the details. So
I'm going to post it in my on the link here. Give me a second here. Copy. There, for those who are watching, and if you want to help out support David Chan, it's our voice, not only his voice, but it's our voice to the Saskatchewan Party. You can check out the website here that is posted on the comment section here. That is www.davidjchan.ca. Open up, click the link, and then just go down. Is that right? Just go down, and then then it will say there where you can sign up for your membership. No, just click there. Where you just scroll down and just go there where it says there, sign up to vote. So click there and click the how to become a member. Click that, and it will show you the instructions how you can be a member, register yourself, right? And then
there's a link right at the bottom where it says $10 or $5 for
right,
adult membership or youth membership, and that you can click on that and you can fill out the form. You'll need a credit card, and you can sign up. And then once you have that membership, remember you have to buy it before February 29th. Once you have the membership, then on March 7th at the Painted Hand Casino, 6 p.m., you come out and cast your vote, and you vote for the nominee that you support.
There's a question here at the comment section saying that if I don't have a credit card, how can I still be a member? Yes, you can. If you can come tomorrow and meet David Chan at the Soup and Sats around 6 to 8, he'll help you out, fill up a form, and there you can just bring a cash of $10.
No cash.
Oh, no cash. No, just,
but we can do check.
You can do check, right? Okay.
Check or e-transfer, but credit card is the easiest. I do want to say one thing about credit cards.
Yes.
You can only use your credit card for one address, like for your own address. So, if you have a family, you can use the same credit card for, your spouse, your wife, or your your husband or your children if they're teenagers, at 14 years old and up.
Mm.
So you can use the same credit card, but it can only apply to one address,
Mm.
right? Yeah. So if you have a mom or dad that's here, but they live at a different house, they'll need a different credit card.
Okay. Let's say for a husband and wife, they want to be a member and they're using the same credit card. Is that possible too?
That's okay. Hmm.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And when you say youth here, you say $10 for 1 year membership, and then for the youth it's only $5. When
five
you say
dollars. Yeah.
youth, it's like 16
It's
years old
age
below,
14,
14 and
14 to
below.
25 years old. Yeah, 14 years old to 25 years old
That is
qualify
correct.
for, yeah, five
Okay.
dollars.
$5
Yeah.
for 14 to 25 years old.
Yeah, and permanent residents are able to vote. I know I said that, but I want to say it again. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay.
even though you're not yet a citizen, you're able to participate.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
you got two options, mga kabayan. It's either you can go online and go to www.davidjchan.ca, click the link, get to know him more through his website, and then on the very bottom there's a link there where you can become a member to be able to vote, or you can visit the Supensats tomorrow at around 6 in the evening till 8, and get to meet in person David Chan, and then he will help you out with the process of
Yeah.
registering to be a member so you can vote, because your vote is your voice. And is that right?
That's right. Yeah.
So let us all Filipinos be heard. Let's all our voice be heard through our vote. So don't forget, register. Anything else you would like to add, David, before we conclude? Wrap up
Just
this discussion?
yeah,
Anyways,
just
thank you very much, David, for gracing with our discussion for tonight. It's really a pleasure to me to have you here. I know you're very busy with work, with family, and with these two. So
yeah.
really appreciate for you taking the time to join with the discussion for tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Right back. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and hopefully we could have you again as guest of our discussion.
Yes, we'd love to. Yep.
Okay. Again, this is David Chan, my guest for tonight po. He's seeking nomination for the Saskatchewan Party and Yorkton constituency. If you want to support him, just go to his website where you can help him out, how to support him, be a member, and be able to come out and vote on the 7th of March. Is that right?
Yeah.
7th of
Yeah.
March,
Five
that is on
membership.
the casino, Painted
Yes,
Hand Casino. Is
that's
that right?
right. Yeah.
Okay, just to make sure everybody knows. Okay,
Okay.
register and then vote on the 7th of March at the Painted Hand
Yeah.
Casino.
Very good. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, David Chan. Until next
Okay.
time, any last words? Oh, good.
No. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much to all our kababayan. Thank you for joining with our discussion po. Until next time po, this is Kuya Jobet. God bless everyone and stay safe.